I was in my late 20s when I met her. She was younger than me, full of energy, laughter, and that kind of light you notice even in a crowded room. We started dating, and honestly, it felt like one of those love stories you don't question. You just dive in. We spent a year and a half together. And for me, every day felt like proof that I had finally found someone worth giving everything to. She had this way of making ordinary things feel special. Grocery shopping, cooking dinner, even walking in the rain. I looked at her and thought, this is it. This is the person I want to build everything with. And maybe that's why what happened later hit me so hard. Because at the beginning, it really was love. At least for me. About a year and a half into the relationship, something changed. At first, it was small things. Her replies got slower, her laughter felt thinner, like her heart wasn't really in it anymore. I asked her if something was wrong, and she finally said, I just need some time to think. My feelings aren't the same right now. It felt like someone had ripped the ground from under me. But I love her, and when you love someone, you want to respect what they need. So I told her, take the time. I'll give you space. For 2 weeks, I lived with this heavy silence. I didn't text her much. I didn't ask for updates. I just waited. Waited for her to remember what we had. Waited for her to come back. But what I found instead wasn't the return of her love. It was something else entirely. It was a normal day. I wasn't even looking for her. I had no suspicion, no reason to doubt. I went to the mall to grab a few things, headphones on, minding my own business. And then I saw her. She was standing near one of those clothing stores, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in weeks. But she wasn't smiling at me. She was with another guy, and before I even had time to process, I saw them kiss. My stomach dropped. My legs felt weak, like they didn't want to carry me anymore. I froze, staring, almost convincing myself it wasn't her. That maybe I'd made some mistake. But no, it was her. The girl I had given space to, the girl I loved with everything in me, was in someone else's arms. I didn't say anything. I just turned and walked out of there, my heart pounding, my chest tight, like my whole body wanted to collapse. That was the moment everything inside me broke. I didn't rush to call her right away. For a few hours, I just sat in my car, staring at the steering wheel, trying to breathe. My mind kept replaying what I saw, over and over, like some cruel loop I couldn't shut off. Later that night, I finally texted her, "Can we talk?" She agreed, like nothing was wrong. When we met, I didn't play games. I told her exactly what I saw. At first, she looked stunned. Then her face twisted into this half-guilty, half-defensive expression. She said, "It was an accident. I didn't want to hurt you. I just got confused. An accident." That word cut deeper than the image of them kissing. How do you accidentally hold someone's face, lean in, and kiss them like they're the center of your world? She kept repeating that it didn't mean anything, that she still cared about me, that she just didn't know what she felt anymore. I was sitting there, shaking, my chest burning, trying not to scream. I had given her space because I trusted her, and she filled that space with someone else. That night, I didn't sleep. My brain kept cycling through emotions so fast I couldn't even name them. One moment, I was furious. How could she do this to me after everything? The next, I was numb, staring at the ceiling, unable to even cry. I kept replaying all the little moments we had. Her head on my chest while we watched movies, the way she used to grab my hand in public, the late-night talks about the future. And every memory now felt poisoned, like someone had scribbled over them in black ink. The anger came in waves. I wanted to shout, to break something, to tell her exactly how much she had destroyed in me. But beneath the rage was something worse, love. As insane as it sounds, I still loved her. Even with her betrayal fresh in my chest, a part of me wanted her to come back, to undo it somehow, to tell me it was all a mistake I could forgive. But deep down, I knew nothing could erase what I saw. After the anger burned itself out, the sadness settled in. Heavy, suffocating, relentless. I remember waking up the next morning with this crushing weight in my chest. For a few seconds before I remembered, I felt normal. And then it hit me again. She kissed someone else. She chose someone else while I was still holding space for her. It wasn't just sadness. It was grief, like something had died. I walked around like a ghost, dragging myself through the day, pretending I was fine when inside everything felt broken. Music hurt. Seeing couples holding hands hurt. Even looking at my phone, at our old messages, felt like knives. I realized I wasn't just mourning her. I was mourning the version of me that believed in us, the version that thought love was enough if you just gave your all. That part of me was gone. And yet, even through the tears, I still caught myself hoping she'd call. Hoping she'd say she made a mistake and wanted me back. That hope made the sadness even worse. I kept asking myself why. Over and over again, like if I could just find the right explanation, it would hurt less. Was I not enough? Did I miss some signs? Did she stop loving me months ago and I was too blind to notice? I went through our last conversations, searching for hidden clues. The way her texts grew shorter. How she stopped saying goodnight sometimes. The pauses when I talked about our future. At the time, I thought she was just stressed or distracted. Now all those small cracks looked like warnings I had ignored. She said she was confused, that her feelings had faded. But how do feelings just fade when nothing is wrong? When all you've been given is love? I torture myself with those questions. Sometimes I blamed her. Sometimes I blamed myself. Most of the time, I blamed both. The truth was I wanted answers she could never give. Because no matter how much I try to understand, betrayal doesn't make sense when your love was real. There came a night when it all just broke. I had been holding it together, barely, pretending to function, go to work, eating, sleeping in fragments. But then, out of nowhere, it hit me harder than ever. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor, and suddenly I felt like my chest was caving in. My heart was racing, my hands were shaking, and I couldn't breathe. It wasn't just sadness anymore. It was devastation. All the love I had poured into her, all the trust, all the nights I stayed up thinking I was building something permanent gone. Just gone. I realized I was holding on to nothing. And that realization crushed me. I broke down. I don't even remember how long I cried, only that I couldn't stop. I kept thinking about her lips on someone else's, her laugh given to someone new, while I sat alone in the dark, destroyed by the very person I trusted most. That night, I stopped believing in forever. After that breakdown, something in me shifted. It wasn't healing, not yet, but a kind of survival instinct kicked in. I started pulling away from her. I stopped answering her texts right away. When she tried to call, I let it ring. When she said she wanted to meet up and talk things through, I told her I was busy. The truth was, I just couldn't take more of her words. Every excuse, every half-hearted apology felt like reopening the wound. The love was still there. I can't lie about that. But I was beginning to understand that love alone wasn't enough. Trust was gone. Respect was gone. And without those, what were we even holding on to? So I built distance piece by piece. Not because I stopped caring, but because caring was killing me. And deep down, I think she felt me slipping away, even if she didn't say it out loud. It was the first step toward letting go, even though it felt like tearing myself apart. When she realized I was pulling away, she started trying harder. Suddenly, there were long messages on my phone, paragraphs about how much I meant to her, how she never wanted to hurt me, how she was just lost. She showed up at my place once, unannounced, standing at my door with tears in her eyes. She said things like, "We can fix this, and I still care about you." But every word felt hollow, like she was fighting for comfort, not for me. The worst part? A part of me wanted to believe her, wanted to let her in, hug her, pretend none of this ever happened. Because love doesn't switch off overnight. But then my mind would flash back to that moment in the mall. The kiss, the way her face lit up with someone else. And I realized she wasn't fighting for us. She was fighting not to feel guilty. And I couldn't carry both her guilt and my pain anymore. It took weeks of back and forth, of sleepless nights and agonizing thoughts. But eventually I hit a point where I couldn't ignore the truth anymore. I realized that holding on to her, even with love in my chest, was only hurting me deeper. I thought about what I deserved. Someone who chooses me, who trusts me, who doesn't shatter what we have at the first sign of doubt. And I knew, no matter how much I loved her, she wasn't that person. It wasn't easy to say it. My voice shook, my heart felt like it was breaking all over again. But I told her, I can't do this anymore. I can't be with someone who doesn't choose me. I love you, but I have to let go. Her face fell. There were tears, pleas, and excuses, but I couldn't listen anymore. My decision was made, and for the first time in months, I felt a strange, bittersweet relief. Walking away wasn't like flipping a switch. It was slow, painful, and full of hesitation. Every memory of her was a trap I had to carefully step around. Our favorite cafe, the park bench we used to sit on, even the songs we listened to together. I deleted her number, muted her on social media, and tried to avoid the places she might be. It felt cruel, almost like erasing pieces of my own life, but I knew it was the only way to heal. At the same time, I let myself feel. I didn't try to hide the tears anymore. I cried in my apartment. I cried in my car. I cried while walking aimlessly at night. And slowly, with each tear, I felt the weight on my chest lift just a little. Letting go didn't mean forgetting. It meant accepting that what I had loved so fiercely was gone, and that my heart had to survive without her. Healing didn't happen overnight. It was messy, filled with doubt, anger, and moments where I questioned if I had made the right choice. But slowly, I started reclaiming myself. I spent time with friends who reminded me of laughter outside of her shadow. I picked up hobbies I had abandoned for our relationship. I let myself feel happiness again, even if it was small, even if it came in quiet, almost unnoticed moments. I realized that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. And while my heart still ached when I thought of her, the pain was no longer all-consuming. It became a scar, a reminder of what I survived, not a wound that controlled me. And somewhere in that process, I found a new kind of strength, the knowledge that I could love, I could feel deeply, and yet still protect my own heart. Looking back, I could see everything more clearly now. I love her with all I had, and that wasn't a mistake. The mistake would have been staying in a relationship where my love was not chosen, where my trust was broken. I learned that people can hurt you even when you give them your whole heart. I learned that betrayal isn't always about the other person. It's also about realizing your own worth and refusing to settle for less. I also learned that healing is possible, that even after something so devastating, you can find peace, you can smile again, and you can love, maybe differently, maybe wiser, but still fully. Most importantly, I learned that letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making space for yourself to grow and to eventually let someone in who will choose you wholeheartedly. Now, when I think about her, I don't feel the same raw pain. There's still a quiet ache sometimes, a memory that flares up unexpectedly, but it doesn't define me anymore. I survived it, and in surviving, I became stronger. If I could give advice to anyone going through something similar, it would be this: love fiercely, yes, but never at the cost of your own self-respect. Betrayal is devastating, and it feels like the world has ended, but it's not the end. It's a chance to learn, to grow, and to find someone who chooses you truly and fully. I still believe in love. I still believe it's worth giving. But now, I know that the love worth keeping is the love that chooses you back. Everything else, painful as it may be, is a lesson.